got wedded at the end of the Civil War at Onitsha in May 1970. Can we please glorify God for that? Following the demise of Biafra and cessation of hostilities in January 1970, Pharmacist Atueyi was deployed as a hospital pharmacist at Onitsha General Hospital. Soon after his wedding, a few months later, he left the job and proceeded to Lagos in search of greener pastures. His experience and career in pharmacy thereafter are well detailed in Chapter 8. Suffice it to say that after a brief stint as a retail pharmacist at Toki Pharmacy in Lagos Island, he joined Nigerian Chemical Services Ltd, Ikeja, as production manager, and subsequently migrated to RT Briscoe Limited, Apapa, as marketing manager. Though he had achieved his earlier ambition of gaining a beef farm, he was still evidently very restless. Another remarkable occurrence in the author's life happened during this period and was thrown up in Chapter 8. At the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria conference in Kano in 1974, he was without prior notice and surprisingly nominated and elected editor-in-chief of the Society's journal at the instigation of who else, other than the chairman of the event today, Prince Julius Edelusi Adeluyi, his friend from their undergraduate days, and then National Secretary of PSN. This turned out to be divine and a life changer, as it opened the door for his foray into the world of pharmaceutical journalism. This exposure was evidently very refreshing, stimulating, and exciting for him. By late 1978, Pharmacist Atueyi had become very restless once more at RT Briscoe. Having seen virtually all aspects of pharmacy practice and yet not satisfied, it was difficult for him to figure out what next. In the midst of contemplation and meditation over his career future, he received a definite call to go into pharmaceutical publishing. This was like the tonic he had yearned for. He briskly sprang to life and commenced to plan. He takes us through his ordeal and the final stages of his career in RT Briscoe, as well as the conceptual stages of Pharmanews in Chapter 9. Amazingly, his handwritten preliminary business plan for Pharmanews, which he preserved over the years, is reproduced in this chapter. It is remarkable that he had stepped down as the editor of the PSN journal early in 1978, having served the society in this capacity for over 3 years. There was therefore no issue of conflict of interest. Nevertheless, as is typical of him, he took all necessary steps to ensure that Pharmanews was not going to be on collision path with the PSN journal. The rest of the chapter details the processes leading to the publication of the very first edition of Pharmanews in May 1979, remarkably with no other staff than himself. Of special note is the miraculous intervention by God in providing him with startup capital through an advanced advert placement by Merck & Co. If he was in any doubt that he had finally arrived at his life career destination, an issue that had dogged him ever since he left secondary school 20 years earlier, the entire circumstances leading to the birth of Pharmanews answered it. Pharmanews was very enthusiastically received by the pharmacy community in Nigeria, as is well outlined in Chapter 10. Nevertheless, as is natural, there were some undercurrents of displeasure, especially among those who felt that Pharmanews was in direct competition with the PSN journal. However, by divine intervention, once more, this was dispelled and Pharmanews was let to be. Having successfully introduced Pharmanews into the market, Chapter 11 dwells on the process of settling down, engaging personnel, and ensuring continuity in publication. A baptism of fire in a head-on encounter with the pervasive filth and corruption of Nigerian society at this initial stage is well highlighted, as well as the enduring lessons learned from this ugly incident. Given that the stories of Ifeanyi Atueyi and Pharmanews are intertwined, as explained earlier, no surprise that the author returns to his personal experiences in chapter 12. Though born into strong Christian foundations, he had remained essentially a nominal Christian. However, in 1989, he had an encounter with Christ through the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship, leading to an enduring spiritual transformation in his life and family. He subsequently even had, can we give him a round of applause, please? He subsequently even had to relinquish his high-ranking position in the Rotary Club as he grew spiritually. Some years later, he and Mrs. Atueyi enrolled in and attended the Lagos Anglican Bible College. They also got more deeply involved in the Full Gospel, and today they are both life members of the fellowship and minor Agambrites partners. In addition, he's now an emeritus national director of the fellowship also. Meanwhile, Pharmanews continued to grow from strength to strength. Pharmacist Atueyi's spiritual rebirth reinforced the moral and ethical fiber of the organization and publication. By 1998, he had introduced a column titled Reflection in the Pharmanews publication, spicing up the content with spiritual musings. Also, by this period, he had started to gain international recognition and was privileged to be invited to and participated in several international workshops and training exposures in health and science journalism. This impacted very positively on him personally and on Pharmanews. Over the years, the Pharmanews organization has experimented with several other publications in the realm of pharmacy, designed to provide greater value to its readership and to the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria. These are well cataloged in Chapter 13 and include the Nigerian Pharmaceutical Directory, Pharmacy World Journal, Nigerian Drug Index, Pharmacy Practice and Continuing Education, and the Nigerian Pharmaceutical Industry. These publications, having served their purposes, are now defunct. Nevertheless, the momentum generated from the experiences culminated in a fake drugs book project. At the time, 2002 to 2004, Nigeria was just emerging from the devastating effect of fake drugs in the pharmaceutical industry. Pharmacist Atueyi was led to edit a 12-chapter book with contributions from 9 distinguished pharmacists and other related professionals, which dealt with the fake drug menace comprehensively. The presentation and launch of this book was, however, forced to be aborted owing to some very unfortunate and sad developments. However, from the ashes of this disappointment rose another book, a 30-chapter motivational publication titled Your Best Pathway for Life, which was launched on the 25th anniversary event of Pharmanews in August 2004. This book was so well received that Pharmanews Ltd has since then been publishing a book every year on motivation, life, and living. In its quest to serve and provide value, Pharmanews Ltd also introduced training programs in niche areas of interest to the pharmaceutical industry in 1993. Again, this was a huge success. First, they were purely local. Later, they took an international dimension with outings in Ghana and Dubai. The training programs were subsequently discontinued in 2017, having completed their life cycle. Between the mid-1990s and early 2000s, the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria was beset by a serious downturn, arising principally from the nefarious activities of fake drug peddlers. As would be expected, this had an enormous negative impact on Pharmanews, which is very well documented in Chapter 14. Deployment of sound management principles and God's favor ensured that the organization remained afloat and that the publication was sustained every month without failure during the period. The price, however, was a thinner publication and drastically reduced print volume, as well as deep staff rationalization. Pharmanews and the Atueyis weathered the storm, and by 2002-2003, the industry was on a recovery path. At this time, God intervened miraculously once more to offer Pharmanews a lifeline which aided its own recovery through MadeRich Nigeria Limited, which made forward payments for advert placements. Having recovered and settled back into normal business rhythm, a few years later, Pharmanews hit another storm. Though the organization had been blessed with competent, dedicated, and honest staff all along, at that stage it emerged that there were some terribly rotten eggs among them. Some very senior managers conspired to defraud the organization, mainly by diverting check payments for Pharmanews to their criminal account. The involvement of the accountant ensured that it continued undetected for 2 years. Ironically, discernible. He expressed profound gratitude to God for blessing his life, guiding him to discover his life calling, and ensuring not only the success of Pharmanews, but also continued publication every month for the last 40 years without a miss. He also reveals his deep sense of gratification and contentment in the value he has provided to the pharmacy community in Nigeria and internationally, as well as the numerous lives he has positively impacted on through Pharmanews, as evidenced by the numerous awards and recognitions he has amassed over the years. Among these are 64 awards from different organizations which are listed. Also listed are many attestations, letters, and congratulatory messages to him and Pharmanews from a wide cross-section of pharmacists and pharmacy students, including very senior and highly accomplished pharmacists and respected past presidents of PSN. Let me also say that at this juncture that perhaps it's only proper to recognize a number of the people that make pharmacy tick in this country, who have all in one way or the other contributed or sent messages of encouragement to him in the course of this publication. Of course, it goes without mention that the chairman of the day is top of the list, pharmacist Prince Julius Adeluyi. Can we please give him a round of applause? Pharmacist Moses Azuike, who was his classmate at Ife, both for the diploma and for the degree programs. He's also here. A round of applause for him, please. Reverend Professor Pharmacist Fola Tayo, I believe he's here. Can we give him a round of applause? Professor Pharmacist Bona Obiora, who was also his classmate at Ife. Sir Professor Pharmacist Oleka Udiala, whom I believe was the first pharmacist to be Vice Chancellor of a Nigerian university. Pharmacist Eugene Okonkwo. Then, in addition, we have Professor Ikenna Onyido, who is an Okija product, an emeritus professor of chemistry at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, and a past Vice Chancellor of Michael Okpara University of Agriculture at Omwa here. He's here. Please, Pharmacist Onyido, can we give him a round of applause, please? We also have another illustrious son of Okija, Nze Akachukwu Nwankpo, who is here, a former special advisor to the President of Nigeria during the regime of President Goodluck Jonathan. Please, can we give him a round of applause? Other messages came from Chief Pharmacist Sokpaleke from Ilorin, Pharmacist Nkere Ibube from Kano, Pharmacist Chukwumerije from Enugu, Pharmacist Sir Ahimian, the past president of PSN, Professor Pharmacist Iwe Akubwe, Professor Noel Wanang, the Secretary General of West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists. We also have Harrison Kofi Abutiate, a pharmacist from Ghana. We have pharmacist Ahmed Yakasai, the immediate past president of the PSN, and pharmacist Olusegun Oluwagbade, a past president of PANS OAU, pharmacist Joseph Ebuka Alakwem, formerly of PANS UNN, the editor-in-chief at the time, and pharmacist Dari Emazo, the past president of PANS of Uniben. All these are duly acknowledged. In my humble opinion, the most important takeaway from this book is that it helps us to rebalance the concept of success. In an increasingly materialistic society such as ours, the tendency is to define success more in terms of material acquisition. We are, however, clearly reminded that success means far more. Success is indeed more about the value we bring to society and the lives we impact on positively than our cash balances, assets, and earthly possessions. In this light, it might be helpful to quickly highlight a few of the factors which evidently contributed to the unqualified success story of pharmacist Atueyi and Pharmanews. 1. Providence. At numerous junctures in the career of the author, the hand of God and his providence showed very clearly. Starting from his uncle, late D.C. Erinne, adopting him and mentoring him, through his scholarship to study pharmacy for Pharm at the University of Ife, then the opportunity of returning to complete the Pharm in the same university after the initial disappointment of being limited to a diploma, as well as the earlier opportunities of earning enough to sponsor himself for the additional one-year study. The Lord was with him. His nomination and election as the editor-in-chief of the PSN Journal and his sudden decision to quit after 3 years again attest to the role of providence in his life, not to mention the miraculous lifts from Merck & Co. and Medrich Nigeria Limited at very critical times. Determination and commitment. These are evidently perhaps the strongest attributes of the author, which have piloted him to the great heights he has attained. At every stage, he remained undaunted and persisted in confronting challenges on his way and showed unwavering commitment to any cause he believes in. 3. Consistency. This outstanding quality of consistency perhaps may be considered the main driving force behind the outstanding feat of publishing Pharmanews continuously every month for 40 years without missing. 4. Ethics and morality. Pharmacist Atueyi's career and Pharmanews are evidently built on very sound ethical foundations, and this has been a vital source of strength. Even on the odd occasion where he inadvertently strayed, he quickly learned his lesson and retraced his steps. Non-borrowing. This may be more arguable, but it's certainly amazing that Pharmanews as a company has been sustained and has survived for 40 years without ever borrowing from the bank. Clearly, it has worked for him. Spirituality. Finding God and committing himself to Christ later in his life seems to have provided the last desirable piece in the jigsaw puzzle of Pharmacist Atueyi's life and career. It has brought him untold peace and focus, which have impacted so positively on him, his family, and Pharmanews. I would like to take liberty in my position as the book reviewer and a close relation of the author to fill in an interesting gap which he inadvertently omitted. After he was posted to Onitsha General Hospital at the end of the Civil War in 1970, he went in search of a residential apartment. He wanted a 2 or 3 bedroom flat. Little did he know that the Onitsha community at that time hardly built flats. Such were to be found only in the GRA or a few expensive estates in town. Against this background, a cousin whom he commissioned to assist in the search and who was a trader at the famous Onitsha market eventually came up with what he thought was an ideal solution. 3 rooms in a row on the first floor of a 2-story building. He then said to Pharmacist Atueyi, and I quote, first of all, I translate to English, "Christopher, this is very good. And if you want it to be a flat, just open the interconnecting doors." I'll narrate it in Igbo. Apologies to those among us who don't understand Igbo. Christopher, ịchọ ka ọ bụrụ flat, ịkpọghesi ụzọ. On a lighter note still, Uncle Atos, as we know him in the wider family, never told us that he's a chief of Ada in Kogi State. Now that we know, as revealed in the book, we shall certainly ensure that justice is done to protocol and that he's properly addressed going forward as Pharmacist Chief Sir Ifeanyi Atueyi. Wrapping up, having gone through this book, I simply describe it as exciting and compelling. The lucidity in the presentation and language is striking, which makes it very reader-friendly. Even the print is highly appealing. I certainly do not hesitate in recommending it to all. I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. I also learned a lot in reading it. I'm sure you will as well. Nevertheless, my work will be incomplete if I do not highlight a few omissions or corrections which I observed. The author is certainly a very meticulous and painstaking professional, but then we are in an imperfect world, and there will always be such errors and omissions, however much care is exercised. In page 48, Mr. E.I. Oli of blessed memory, the proprietor of Merchants of Light School, Oba, was referred to as a former Federal Minister of Education. But from available records, he was a former East Regional Minister of Education in the first regional government headed by the late Dr. Eyo Eta. 2. In the same page, late Mr. D.C. Erine was referred to as having started Bishop Lasbury College, Irete. This is not very correct. He succeeded late Chief Mokwenye as principal at Irete. His major task was to introduce the teaching of science subjects in the college, which was novel for teacher training colleges at the time. He also introduced a 2-year pivotal teachers program, post-school certificate, to provide teaching support for secondary schools. 3. In page 228, it was omitted to indicate that Professor Alaba Akinshete, the then charter president of Rotary Club, is now late, having passed on last year to the great beyond. He happened to have also been my professor at the Faculty of Engineering, University of Lagos, and later my president in the Young Men's Christian Association of Archbishop Vining Memorial Church Cathedral, Ikeja. In page 252, IFPMA was referred to as International Federation Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association. This should more correctly read as International Federation of Pharmaceutical Manufacturers and Associations. Finally, with this, I believe that my task is done. Once more, I thank Uncle Atos for doing me the honor of reviewing such an important book for him. I also thank you all very much for your attention. Kindly ensure that you get your copies. I wish you very happy and exciting reading. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Another round of applause for the reviewer. I could never be a policeman. I think that's very clear now. I had a duty to use body language to suggest that perhaps we might hasten things a little bit. But interesting to attempt to prevent it from going on. And I'm sure you'll show your appreciation for that very good journey into the book.
The very tough guy who knocks out every opponent, but now he's been knocked down by malaria.
Amatem soft gel.
Amatem soft gel.
Amatem soft gel makes treating malaria easy.
Daddy, when I had malaria in school, they gave me Amatem soft gel. It's soft and easy to swallow.
Amatem soft gel is a game changer.
The opponent is down only in round 1.
Ayua, Amatem for soft gel are good to combat malaria for body.
Available for adults and children. Say no to malaria. Yes to life.
Few people in the world who go by just one name, but his own name, when you just have Mazi in a circle, I can imagine that there may be other Mazis, but it's always clear who we're referring to. Please join me in welcoming the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Mazi Sam Ohwabua, and his lovely wife who are here. Again, I like to suspect things a lot, so I will raise another suspicion that I believe Mazi is also of the Full Gospel Businessmen Fellowship. Am I correct? I think I should keep on suspecting. I will be very good at that. But having said that, we also have the registrar of the... oh, please, can you let a man who is struggling with being in the minority have some peace? Great Ife. Fortunately, you are busy eating, so your voice is very low. And I'm not going to call you again. I've called you the one time I'm going to call you. We also have with us the registrar of the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria. And if you're looking for the double prophet, you may not find him readily, Elijah Muhammad. But when you have two that have been joined into one, wherever you see his lovely wife, you have also seen him. So please join me in welcoming Reverend Mrs. Adizatu Muhammad, wife of the Registrar of the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria. A big round of applause for her, wherever she may be seated. And there are also senior members of the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, including our own Dr. Mrs. Ukamaka Okafor, who is Director of Education and Training, as well as the Zonal Director of PCN in Lagos Pharmacies, Augustine Ezeugu. A round of applause for them. The Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Group of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, PMG-MAN, is led by the president, who is the Dr. Fidelis Ayebai. He's the MD of Fitsin PLC. He's unable to be with us today, but the executive secretary of that body, Mr. Frank Muoneme, is here. Please join me in recognizing Mr. Frank Muoneme and give him a round of applause. We also have with us, there's a clustering that is going on. I don't know if it's spontaneous or just random, but I suspect that like calls on to like. And when I saw a former chairman of the Board of Fellows, pharmacist Ade Pokuola, I saw him with his Ekiti cap. He is legitimately wearing it, but I am an Ogbomosho man who is borrowing from Ekiti today. So please join me in welcoming pharmacist Ade Pokuola, former chairman of the Board of Fellows and the managing director of Reels. And so the attraction I was talking about is a gentleman who is also a former chairman of the Board of Fellows, a former DCG, Deputy Comptroller General, second highest level in the customs, and a pharmacist as well, a lecturer in UNN in the past. Please join me in welcoming Dr. John Nwewu of JB Pharmaceuticals Limited. Dr. John Nwewu. And I'm always very proud to say that even though he's 70, he used to be my squash partner. So Dan, I play with 70-year-olds. So try and work out the age closeness between us, right? Sorry, Dan, that was not below the belt. We have also with us the newest professor in the landscape, not just in Nigeria, but internationally. We have somebody who has done Nigeria proud. So for every Invictus, we have a Larry Bale, someone who has built business and is now building academia. Please join me in welcoming Professor Larry Bale of the Business School Netherlands and a very close associate of Pharm, Ifeanyi Atueyi. We have also the MD of Mr. Anant. Just 1 minute. I have been greeting him with my eyes all this while, but it's time for me to greet him with my mouth. Mr. Anant, where's his name? Yeah. My eyes are saluting you. My voice will join in recognizing you appropriately very soon. We have the chairman of the West Africa Postgraduate College of Pharmacists, Pharmacist Chijioke, on here. A round of applause for pharmacists on here. We also have a former president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Dr. Uwaga of Barata Pharmaceuticals. Is Dr. Uwaga here? Although I suspect this may be his son. Are you his son? Ah, fantastic. Dr. Chibuzo Uwaga of Barata. Okay, good to have you with us. We have also pharmacist Lighton Isegbe of Mega Life Sciences. We have pharmacist Chibuike Agarua of Euromed, and very many distinguished people in the audience today. But I am sure that the one I'm looking for I will still find. But in the meantime, let me recognize, yes, and I think I'm getting close to it. Not quite, but let me recognize a few people. Pharmacist Kennedy Izunwa is the MD of Foundation Pharmaceuticals, a close associate of Pharm Namdi. They're both leaders of the Association of Pharmaceutical Importers of Nigeria. A round of applause from Pharm Kennedy. Okay, there you are. We also have from Emzo Zolon Pharmaceuticals, Mr. Chiagozie Maduneme, and someone who also recently launched a book, if I remember correctly, MD of Altines Pharmaceuticals, pharmacist Steve Okoronkwo. A big round of applause for him. We have also one of the people who the celebrant himself, you see, I've migrated from celebrator to celebrant now, because you can use them interchangeably. So feel free to do that. But now, someone he has mentioned as one of the early supporters of Pharmanews, none other than the MD of Neros Pharmaceuticals, Dr. Poli Emenike. A round of applause for Dr. Poli Emenike. Is he with us? Okay. And we also have with us the International Director of the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship, Dr. Tony Ewelike. What a coincidence. The names sound so similar. And we also have the district coordinator of the same organization, Mr. Fola Aguda, who is here with his wife as well. A round of applause for him. I was going to say the national coordinator, maybe it's the past one, who did the prayers. Did anybody get a sense that his doctorate may have been in marketing or management? Because that prayer was laced with many marketing phrases and innovation and all of that. So a round of applause for him again in arrears. We also have engineer and Mrs. Charles, the National Director of the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International. With that, I think what's left is to also recognize the Secretary of the Board of Fellows, Pharmacist Rosemary Nikoro. Pharmacist Rosemary Nikoro is the Secretary of the Board of Fellows. A round of applause for her if she's still here. And we should by then just move straight on now to the task at hand, which is the unveiling of my life and Pharmanews, the new autobiography by Sir Pharmacist Ifeanyi Atueyi. And to do the honors of unveiling and launching this book, we have none other than the Executive Chairman of Dozie Oil and Gas, Dr. Sir Daniel Chukwudozie, who unfortunately is unable to be with us in person, but has also sent someone just as important, to the occasion as Sir Innocent Ihe Bunike, who will represent him as the chief launcher for today. So join me as I invite, and you can see from his standing, I have to leave the podium before he gets here, because I've been masquerading as the tallest man here before now. So before that title is relinquished, I will just disappear before a comparison. A big round of applause matching his towering frame as he approaches the podium to do the unveiling. I will stand far from you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a very long day. We've heard from all sorts, from the Pharmacist Atueyi and all the people that have been talking to us. The main thing we've come here to do is to present a book written by Pharmacist Atueyi. I may have to say that Pharmacist Atueyi has been a mentor to me too as a person. But I'm not here on my own behalf. I'm here to represent Sir Dr. Daniel Chukwudozie, and I'm doing this on his behalf. I know when I was called upon to do this, I asked Pharmacist Atueyi, how did my name come up? Because I know that I'm still far, far down there. He assured me that Dr. Sir Dan Chukwudozie has specifically said that I do that for him. So I'm now moving down to where the books are to present the book. Thank you. From the front. Okay. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of... Okay.
And to do justice to this, let us invite the author, pharmacist Ifeanyi Atueyi, and his lovely wife, Lady Joan, the chairman of the occasion, Prince Julius Adelusi Adelui, and the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Mazi Sam Onwabua, to please join as the book is being unveiled. And Sir Tony Ezenna as well, the MD of Orange Drugs, please join as the book is being unveiled. So I think they will just be with you here. So the photographers should actually... Or should we do it from there so you're facing... Yeah. Yes, I think it's better. So, if you are... But the thing is reaching here. Okay, so you can do from here while they stand here. Okay. Please come, sir. This way. Okay. Sir, please be in the middle. In the middle. Okay. Sorry, sir. Go here. Sir, Eric, please join us.
You join them. Is he here? Is he here? Is everybody here? Okay.
Sir Eric Okoye, without GM, there's no book. Come.
Yeah, sir, you're welcome. Now, on behalf of Sir Dr. Daniel Chukwudozie, the MD, CEO, and chairman of Dozie Oil and Gas Limited, I, Azuka Ihabunike, present these books by cutting this tape. Ladies and gentlemen, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes My Life and Pharmanews by none other than pharmacist Ifeanyi Atueyi. I urge everybody to take a copy of this book and maybe take copies for your friends too. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have some people and groups who will give us their own goodwill messages. And we invite first to make this goodwill message will be Great Ife Pharmacy Alumni Association, GIPA Group. Great Ife. Great Ife. Great Ife. Una great no strong. We will see how great it is here.
But this is the time. Separate with the name. This is the time if you can talk. You can show something before you go. Let him learn. Let him learn. Then you go to.
Ladies and gentlemen, I, Innocent Azuka Ihabonike, I've actually told you that I was here. I came in here to represent Sir Dr. Dan Chukwudozie. But as a person, I now want to launch this book with 100,000 naira.
We'll now invite Igwe Okije. Igwe.
Good afternoon, everybody. I will, before I start, want to speak little in Igbo language before I conclude. And my apology to all those who understand. Ndị bịara ije nnọọ. Asị m ndị bịara ije nnọọ. Okije enyin. Okije enyin. Okije na-egbu achara. Okije na-egbu achara. O nnọọ. O ana m ekene unu kunu nchasi wee bịa ugwu n'ihe nke ọ na-eme n'ụbọchị tata. Ndụ nke o nyere ya iji wee nọgide wee nọruo kịta na ahụ isi ike. Ịfụzi na mụnwa jizi mkpọ eje ma ya nwee jibebe mkpọ eje. O Chukwu asị m na ọ ya anọnyere gị ihe niile ị na-eme. Asị m na ị ya anọkwa ebe a etu isi kwururidi ihe a wee ruo mgbe isiri ya nọrụ 90 years a. Ana m ekpekwa ekpere na chairman go ya anọkwa ya mgbe ahụ bụrụkwa chairman go. Asị na ihe anata Ọkịja na ihe ejikwa ihe eji azụ nata n'ụkwụ ka ihe eji nata. Ihe anatakwa n'ọkwa n'ụlọ nọpụ ọrụ anyị wee na-adụkwa anyị nwa ndị nọ n'ụlọ ọdụ. Demenwuo. You know, I have to pray in the language God understands. The review, the book itself, I would say, the reviewer has done a lot of justice to it. It's as if I have read the book, because it started from the very first chapter to the last chapter and do a conclusion. Here I am. I think I can tell the story of the book without even reading it. But will not stop each one of us from going home with at least a copy. And based on that, the publisher, my uncle, and also a mentor, I've learned a lot from him. I will pick up this book and then send message back to you on what I will give you. Thank you so much.
Igwe spoke to his people and they responded. But for some of us who did not understand Igwe, he spoke English. Well, we have invited the Ifites and Gifa people, and they're here in great number, and they're ready to explode.
I was going to use my big stick to force me out. The anthem now.
Africa's most beautiful campus. Cautious, vigilant,
please, we are from Ife. Please stand up.
Against all oppression. Forward ever, backward never, for learning and culture, sports and struggle. Great Ife, I love you. There's only one great Ife in the universe. Another great Ife is a counterfeit. Great, 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 great.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is not very often that I have this power, and I'm going to use it. Oh, thank you very much, sir. I was going to bring the chairman here because he's a great Ife. We have some other great Ife sitting down. We'll allow them so that we don't overcrowd this place. Sir Atueyi, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, of which you are a distinguished member of GIPA, that's the Great Ife Pharmacy Alumni Association, the Executive Committee, and the entire membership of Great Ife Pharmacy Alumni Association, GIPA, in Nigeria and in diaspora, we congratulate you on this very great occasion. You are indeed a great icon of pharmacy, and we congratulate you on your entry into this noble octogenarian club. At the same time, we know you are celebrating 40 years of hard work of establishing Pharmanews. We can count so many other publications, both professional and even the normal newspapers, that are even more endowed, that started about the same time you started and are no longer in existence. We salute your integrity, your commitment, your selfless service to the cause of pharmacy, and especially to the cause of your alma mater, Great Ife. We wish you many happy returns of today, joy, prosperity, and we hope to be here to celebrate you as a centenarian. Normally, I don't always want to make a speech after Prince Julie Adeluyi. It is very dangerous. I'm very slippery. It's a banana. Thank you very much, sir, for representing us so well. We're always very proud of you, too. So we are proud of Sir Atueyi, and on behalf of GIPA, we would like the chairman, who doubles as an alumnus, to help us to present this to Sir Atueyi.
I like the president of the PSN, because we, Ife, are the ones who produce the presidents normally, to join me on this occasion to present this to one of us. Are you ready? Our boss? Since you are younger and stronger, do it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman of this event, and our mentor, Thank you, our Presido, for GIPA. I feel honored and really, really privileged to present this plaque of honor presented to Sir Ifeanyi Atueyi, founder, publisher, Pharmanews, in recognition of your selfless and distinguished service towards the establishment of the Great Ife Pharmacy Alumni Association, and in celebration of your 80th birthday and 40th anniversary of the founding of Pharmanews. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. We have another little present here. You know, we have so many ladies. People say we have more lady pharmacists than the males. Well, I don't know. I don't know the statistic. The registrar is here. May I call on the Chairman Board of Fellows of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Professor Mrs. Kenny Oyewo, to present this on behalf of GIPA. The first.
Mr. President, PSN, the chairman of our Alumni Association, the president, Nigeria Academy of Pharmacy, distinguished Great Ife, graduates, Great Ife, Great Ife, Great. On behalf of the Alumni Association, we want to present this small gift. It's very small indeed. If Ife says it's small, then it is small. To wish you a happy birthday to our wonderful, iconic pharmacist, Sir Ifeanyi Atueyi, PSN. We want to wish you long life and prosperity from Great Ife people, pharmacists. Thank you.
If I were younger, she have carried it. And finally, we also would like to buy 1 or 2 copies of the books. And as GIPA, the Dean of the Faculty of Pharmacy is here. He came all the way from Ife for this ceremony. I'm sure that he would also like to pick 1 or 2 copies for the faculty. And then any other Great Ife who wants to buy can always continue. So on behalf of GIPA, we'd like to buy 3 copies for 50,000 naira.
On behalf of Faculty of Pharmacy, we want to wish you happy birthday celebration. We're taking 2 copies at 20,000. Thank you, sir.
Great Ife. Great Ife. Great UNN. Great Lions. Great Lions. Great Lions. With plenty. Thank you. I think 3,000 for one. They say a goldfish has no hiding place. I have the honor and pleasure of recognizing and welcoming pharmacist Stella Okoli of Emzo Group. Madam, you are welcome. Thank you. DMGS.
Lux Fiat. Lux Fiat. I understand that time is of the essence, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. Fellow old boys, please, we will stand behind our former president, Sir Eric Okoye. The person we are celebrating today is pharmacist Atueyi, who I think left DMGS in the 60s. 1958. Don't ask me where I was in 1958. That will take 5 years before I answer that question. But suffice it to say that Pharmacist Atueyi was our former president, and he served this association meritoriously, transparently, and in short, I don't know what to say. We are still trying to meet the standards, to keep the standards that he set in service. Even though I'm the president, my mouth is not strong enough to speak about a man that left the MGS in 1958 when I am of the 1982 set. Permit me to call on our former president, another former president, Sir Eric Okoye, Chinyelugonugbo, Ifeanyi Atueyi, a former managing director of the defunct National Oil and Chemical Marketing PLC. Chinyelugo.
Thank you very much, Mr. President of the Association's Lagos branch. After listening to our chairman, who I regard as a genius, because he went through all spheres of life. But I only want to talk about the icon we are celebrating today. And in so doing, to talk of 3 factors that affect or impact on human beings. First is heredity. What the parents, transmit to the offspring. And then, of course, who played what role at that stage. The second factor is exposure or education, where then I would also talk about the impact of DMGS on the celebrant today. And finally, the environment, and how the environment, as one of the greatest scientists, Darwin, did say and talk about the survival of the fittest. Atueyi, and at the first stage of the factor, God was in charge, and of course imparting his gifts or talents, which he did through the parents, gave out the talents or the gifts as people who hog the holy books. We'll talk about the holy book, Bible, Quran for Muslims, and Torah for the Jews. Gave out all the talents. And of course, all that we're celebrating today, those talents went to some, yes, to Sir Ifeanyi Atueyi. And I thank God that he was able to utilize those talents, was able to adapt to his environment, and utilized all to start his own business. And I thank the family, particularly the wife, the better half of Ifeanyi, for providing the enabling environment in which Ifeanyi worked. Ifeanyi served me when I was the chairman of the Lagos branch of the association for 4 years. And he was very good, dedicated, reliable, dependent, and I can never find a man so calm, so simple, so dependable in everything he did. He organized very well, utilizing those Christian values he acquired from DMGs. So on behalf of the association, I'm saying congratulations for these triple celebrations of today. And more importantly, to your wife and your children and grandchildren. Congratulations once more. Amen.
Thank you very much. Please quickly, because there are other people who want to honor our old boy. The DMJ's anthem after the Mbawa song. Please quickly. For those anthem straight. Okay. For the DMJ's anthem, all old boys, even if you're not standing here with us, please be up standing where you are. I will take it quickly. Dengram will sing to you. Let's go. Dengram will sing to you. Logs Fayat. Dengram will bring to you faith untold. You challenge and inspire. Your hope is our desire. We sing to you our alma mater, Lux Fayat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not complete without him, our song.
You will have it. You will have it.
Do me
You will
song.
conduct it. It's your day.
No. Mbawa song.
No, he married for This is his day. He must.
Do me sorry. We are singing Mbawa song. Mbawa is granite. Do me sorry. De ti so do re so mi re do re so fa mi re do. Mbawa.
Do sa sa la mi so do do. Thank you, DMGS. I have the honor and pleasure of inviting Chief Sir Tony Ezenna. Chief Sir Tony Ezenna. Okay, Orange Drug Company. I have the honor and pleasure of inviting Orange Drug Company. Orange Drug Company. Sir? Okay, I'll call him. Sir Atueyi.
And just taking the photograph with the celebrant, Mr. Ifeanyi Atueyi, the managing director of Rambaxi. A big round of applause for Sir Ifeanyi Atueyi. I was struggling with the name, but I eventually remembered. Can we have a round of applause for him, please? MD Rambaxi, Nigeria Limited. Thank you very much.
Remember me? Yeah. I work with Jane. I work with Sheba. I work with Manny Joseph. I work with many of them. 1989 to 95, a long time ago.
Okay, because I came here in 1988.
George another Aurora. He was the marketing manager.
Yeah. He moved back to India then.
Oh, yes, sir.
I came here in 19.
Hello. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the entire members of Orange Group, it is an honor to be here to celebrate with our pharmaceutical director of many years at Orange Group. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having us. We would like to buy 50 copies of the book for a total of 500,000 naira. Thank you so much, and congratulations, sir. Thank you. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Thank you. Madam. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Is full gospel here? Full gospel. Yes, full gospel. Are they here? Yes, yes. Call that lady. Call that lady. Call that lady. Not the lady. Apart from the new books, there are also the old books on sale outside. So please, full gospel are they here? Yes, sir. Full gospel. Thank you.
Not to allow as many people who would like to contribute to this special event, and especially by way of also launching the book, buying copies, and making significant contributions. So that's the next round we'll be going into now. So please, the Full Gospel Business Fellowship, Businessmen Fellowship International, please come forward for photographs with Sir Atueyi. Please come to the front here where the gentleman is for photographs. In the meantime, we'll be going around and also making some recognitions along the way. But important it is to recognize in our midst Dr. Ben Onyido, who is a former director of the CBN and has been with us here for a while. Please give him a big round of applause. Dr. Ben Onyido is a good friend of the family. And let me start from here, sir. So once they're back from the photographs, the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria will also say a few words. Oh, the bicycle. Okay. Okay. So right now, the words, we've had quite a lot. Let the 7 zeros be more than the words. And I think we're starting with the right person here. He whispered into my ears that I hope you are fortified to receive what I'm about.
Very tough guy who knocks out every opponent. But now he's been knocked down by malaria.
Amatem soft gel.
Amatem soft gel.
Amatem soft gel makes treating malaria easy.
Daddy, when I had malaria in school, they gave me Amatem soft gel. It's soft and easy to swallow.
Amatem soft gel is a game changer.
Is down only in round 1.
Ayua, Amatem for soft gel are good to combat malaria for body.
Available for adults and children. Say no to malaria. Yes to life.
Every undergraduate in Okija will get a copy, so that they can see the great treasure the great tradition that has been established in our town, the examples of life. And I hope that someday the documentary, this event, so that the young people growing up in my town can see that by good character and nobility, a man can assemble the world. The friendship, the love, the value system that has manifested in this hall. And for me as a young Nigerian, seeing that my uncle was brought up by people across the country, people who gave him love without knowing him, people who built him up, his mentor. I had goose pimples listening to him. A man with classic understanding of all subjects. So for me, this book is a symbol of what Nigeria was, a symbol of what Nigeria must be. And I hope that more young people, more organizations can have access to this book, and that will be my mission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A big round of applause for him. You know, when the zeros are too many, sometimes you don't want to intimidate the audience, but we want to be intimidated. Please tell us how this will translate into numbers.
Well, for me, I don't think it's necessary. I have my uncle, and I'm going to be in that tradition. He knows that I have made a commitment, and in tradition from which he grew, and he has taught us, that commitment stands.
Very good, very honorable. A big round of applause for the gentleman. We thank you for your kind words. This phase of the conversation is a little bit more economic. Investment goes with publishing, and it's good to let this book go far and wide, but to also inspire more publishing. So if the contributions can be a bit more than the words, we will indeed be very grateful. This is a book launch, and we'll appreciate that. Let me stop at a table where we have a leading light in the industry, a senior pharmacist, veteran manufacturer, chairman, chief executive of Mopsin Pharmaceuticals Limited, pharmacist Michael Paul. I'll come back to him in a minute or two to allow him time to settle, but I'm sure that something great will be coming from his tables. I would also approach someone who I thought was a lion, but not only is he a lion, but he's also one of those, I won't say they like noise, but please put it together for the MD of May & Baker PLC. Sir, no, it's not Sir yet, but maybe it's on the way. Very soon, Namdi Okafor.
Thank you very much, and I want to say that very soon I will be Sir Chief Dr. Namdi Okafor. It's good to be here, and May & Baker has benefited immensely from the works of Sir Atueyi. And we have received several books free of charge. So this is the time for us to pay back. On behalf of management of May & Baker, we are buying 5 books at the sum of 200,000.
Did we hear that? 5 books for the sum of 200,000 naira from May & Baker PLC. Can we have a resounding round of applause for them, please? A big round of applause for them. He said something which is very instructive. They're not doing this as an act of charity. They're not doing this just as an act of philanthropy. He said it's actual payback time. They've benefited from the association with Pharmanews, and it's time to reciprocate. Thank you so much for that angle. And let me stick with the elders here. The former chairman, Board of Fellows. I beg your pardon? If you tell on direct me, Walele. You know they were speaking Igbo the last time. Now that I have the microphone, let me speak in Bating Bati. So Dr. John, who is part of us in Lagos, Dr. John, we can say is an Ngbati Bati elder, but he's also an Igbo very high chief. Is the MD of JB Pharmaceuticals and a good friend and supporter of Pharmanews. What will it be from you, sir?
Come and take care of this thing.
You know, when I grow up, I want to be like JB. You know, big money does not make noise. Just one copy and 100,000. Can you put a big round of applause for Dr. JB Nwiwu? A very big one. Now, I think I saw. Okay. See, they're directing me up and down. But I'm between the two of them. It's your senior, yes. And not only is he your senior, he is the former chairman of the Board of Fellows, the managing director of Reels Pharmaceuticals, Pastor Ade Popola.
I'll be supporting the book. 100,000 for one copy.
Wow, this table is a really blessed table. Who is taking note of the numbers, please? Pharmanews. Who is taking note of the numbers? Someone should be writing. Right. So we have 100,000 from pharmacies at Depokola, MD of Reels Pharmaceuticals, Reels group of companies. Now, the person I'm going to invite, I'm going to tell him this is not the time to be respecting elders. This is the time to show that the young have grown, right? And so if the elders are doing one copy for 100,000, I am giving you the hint of the minimum I will accept from you. Please join me in recognizing the president of Pharm and a very distinguished, I think he's a honorary pharmacist. He has been such an integral part of the industry. He was honored with the award of honorary pharmacist, Mr. Femi Shoremeko. A round of applause for him as he mentions the numbers that will make me go and sit down and retire for this afternoon.
Oh, yes. Unfortunately for you, I have Buki George, who's an Aburo, so she will support me. But really, for me, Sir Atueyi has done a lot for us in the industry. He's somebody that I really, really respect. And for me, I thank God that today is celebrating 80 and then also 40 years of Pharmanews. He has done a lot for us. And for that, I would not want to respect my elders, because it's not proper when you're in a setting like this to disrespect your elders. Sir who has spoken, Mr. Popola has spoken. The best I can do is just to stay just below them. 100,000 for 2 books.
You see, the man is an economist. He has done the same amount, but he has gotten bigger value for his money. Thank you very much, Mr. Shoremeko. The books are coming. And please don't limit yourself to the one they asked for, right? Do more than that. We've not had a lady speak all day, but this lady represents ladies globally, not just in Nigeria. A Harvard alumnus, founder, CEO of Nigeria's leading health chain, I will say, not just pharmaceutical. Tell me any other health organization that has up to 50 or more outlets. Please put your hands together for pharmacies, Buki George.
Thank you, everyone. I'm really delighted to be here. I'm proud of Sir Atueyi, of his achievements and how God has used him. I'm actually starstruck by him. He's my role model in many ways. And I bless God for his life and the work of his hands. I'll be supporting the book launch with 100,000 naira, and we're taking 3. Thank you.
The younger they get, the more copies they take. Super. Thank you very much, Mrs. Buki George. All right, so I'm going back to Sir Michael Paul now. I've given him sufficient time, and he will make his announcement. And Samuel Neme, I'm coming next to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to be at this occasion today because Mr. Atueyi, I saw him starting this thing. It started and we all saw it. With the hard work that he puts into it, I don't think any company, any pharmaceutical company exists that he doesn't know where they are. He really worked hard in association with Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, and I think
probably now is the mouth organ of Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. Somebody that where others are not making it, he has made it. To celebrate 48th anniversary of Pharmanews is like celebrating pharmacy itself. He has done a lot. So many people were there before he came in, but I don't know how many of them of his time are still surviving. He has done a lot for pharmacy, and I recognize him. And I want to be part of him today. And I'm taking 2 copies of this, the launching of the book. I'm taking 2 for 100,000 naira.
Pardon us. So, you know, the value of the lead cap is not just
a very tough guy who knocks out every opponent, but now he's been knocked down by malaria.
Amatem soft gel.
Amatem soft gel.
Amatem soft gel makes treating malaria easy.
Daddy, when I had malaria in school, they gave me Amatem soft gel. It's soft and easy to swallow.
Amatem soft gel is a game changer.
Oh! The opponent is down only in round 1.
Ayua, Amatem for soft gel are good to combat malaria for body.
Available for adults and children. Say no to malaria. Yes to life.
Sir.
I'm standing on behalf of Okija Town Union as the Town Union President. Our big uncle Okija is saying happy birthday to you. We have seen the 80th one and we're expecting the 90th one. In terms of the book launch, Okija Town Union, we are taking 4 copies with sum of 50,000. I personally, with my family, we are also taking 2 copies with sum of 50,000.
Can we have a louder round of applause? Usually they say a prophet is without honor in his home, and the good people of Okija have shown that our own celebrant is different, is very much valued and appreciated in his home. I introduced someone the other time. Can we have one house? Because I want to do a small quiz, and there's been a donation towards that. So can we have a little bit of quiet so that we can focus on this very important part? I introduced the gentleman and I said, he's a former director of the Apex Bank in Nigeria, the Central Bank of Nigeria. Anybody who remembers his name and is not on this table will have 2 books donated by me. So can anyone outside this table tell me the name? Please indicate. It must not be an emeritus professor. Emeritus professor, they know too much book. Okay, you at the back in the cap. Come forward. Come and tell me the name. And you must prove that you are not a family member. This is your face. I'm already afraid of you. What's the name?
Oyido.
Do you know him before? No. Fantastic. Can you give him a round of applause? The only thing is that you said Mr. Instead of giving you 2 books, I will give you 1. It's Dr. Ben Oyido. A big round of applause. So please wait behind. We'll get the book for you now. He's here. Okay, you want to meet him in person? Okay, when he's making his presentation, you will see him.
Praise the Lord. When I was reading through this, I read that Pharmanews started, that Uncle started Pharmanews in 1979. And I said, 1979, 40 years. I said yes to that. But I didn't see my name here as one of the foundation staff. Yes, on freelance basis. Yes, I recall with nostalgia when Uncle used to send me envelopes to address, and after addressing, I'll take them to him, and we now stuff these magazines and post out. So I am proud to be a member of the Pharmanews family, and later Uncle chaired my wedding anniversary. Wedding, say reception, please. Wedding reception. Well, I think a lot has been said, and I don't have to flog issues here, except to say that as the mountains surround Jerusalem, so shall God's love and mercy enfold you, Uncle, and you shall continually remain under his canopy of protection. You will live and walk in good health, in victory and prosperity, and no one shall steal your joy. In the name of Jesus. I shall take a copy of this book just for 100,000 naira.
Fantastic. Can we have a big round of applause? You see how the Spirit works? The Spirit led me to Something specific with Pharmanews, and that has come to the fore. A big round of applause once again. We thank you for your contribution. I did say that the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria will say a word as well, and it's my pleasure to invite Mazi Sam Onwaboa for a few words. Standing by as soon as our president is done is the in-home club of Okija, of which our celebrant is a member. They're also here. Please stand by and you'll come right after.
Mr. Chairman, our distinguished celebrants, all the very distinguished people here this afternoon, I greet you all. I want to thank God that this day has come. We are looking forward to it, and God has brought it to be. And it's so refreshing to see the large number of people who are here to participate and to cheer our own professor, if you belong to the Full Gospel Business Men's Fellowship, our own Sir Pharm Atueyi, who is celebrating 80th birthday and also commemorating the 40th anniversary of the birth of Pharmanews. We have had the book review, and we have had all the comments about the book, and about Sir Atueyi. I'm standing here first as the president of Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria to say that Atueyi is one of our best. He represents one of the best that this profession has produced. He has modeled and been a great mentor to many pharmacists. His quiet man, his enthusiastic outlook to life, and his willingness to serve. He has served PSN in different capacities beyond editing the Journal of Pharmacy that heralded his entry into this pharmaceutical journalism, as motivated by Prince Julius Adeluyi. He has served PSN in several capacities, chairing committees, participating in several opportunities to raise the game in pharmacy. And he has used his publication to create greater awareness for pharmacy and what pharmacists do. Pharmanews today has become the major journal that promotes pharmacy, in addition to promoting all the related aspects, pharmaceutical manufacturing, marketing, sales, and so forth. So, Sir Atueyi, we want to congratulate you, congratulate Mommy, for working together this 40 years plus in building a great institution, Pharmanews. Our prayer is that Pharmanews will endure, will be transgenerational. We want, when you are finished and gone, Pharmanews will continue to be in the circulation by the grace of God. That's our prayer, and that will continue to speak for you. The PSN will normally support, and we're going to buy 2 books, and we're going to present a check to Sir Atueyi. On my own capacity, myself and my wife, we're also going to take 2 books, and we'll have this little check as our own little contribution. The PSN check will follow. God bless you.
My president, thank you very much.
As I mentioned, the club to which their celebrant belongs in his hometown is the Okija In-Home Club. Can we please give them a big round of applause as they come forward to make a presentation to the celebrants and also to make their own contribution to the book launch. There's plenty of space here, so please come forward to this point. Sir Atueyi, your presence is needed. So please come forward. Okija In-Home, the president of the club is here, and they will make the presentation. Very brief, I would like to appeal. The president.
Ifeanyi Home Club is here, having picture with Ifeanyi Atueyi. We are here to celebrate with him and wish him happy birthday. For the book, the Home Club is taking 10 copies with 50,000 naira. I, as a person, Romanus Iboekwe, is taking 5 copies with 50,000 naira.
I will also take 2 copies with a sum of 25,000 naira. My name is M.N.M. Harold Okwosa. Thank you.
Two copies, 20,000. Sorry.
My name, Sir Emma Ebu, 2 copies, 10,000 naira.
Ikebude Desmond. I'll take 2 copies for 20,000. I, Comrade Donald Agwaniru, 2 copies for 10,000 naira.
Thank you, sir. Who is again? Okay, pen. Anyone again?
Can we have a big round of applause? Is there still...
In Home Club, unity and discipline amongst all. We have a duty to those in need and to the helpless. We pledge to serve the homeland, promote the dignity of the land, and aid the leadership. And as members of the club, we do our best, and so help us God.
A quick announcement, please. There's a car with registration number LSP 6140A. A car with registration number LSP 6140A. Kindly repark the car. It's obstructing, please. We have the next group. Before I go to the group, please let me announce them. Okija, the Okija community. Can we please have them here? Okija community, please come forward and stay with the celebrant. Okija community, while they are aligning with the celebrant, let me invite the matriarch. If I could have your attention for just a minute, I want to invite the matriarch of the pharmaceutical industry, a former chairman of the PMG Man, the group managing director of Emzo Group of Companies, pharmacist Stella Okoli. Can we have a big round of applause for our big mommy?
There's so many people here. Greeting. You won't hear what I'm saying. No, but that's the man of the moment. The man of the moment has to be around. The lady of the moment is here, though. Yeah. No. the celebrant, Mr. Pharmacist, Sir Ifeanyi Atueyi, and the lovely wife, Julian. I am so happy. I can't even describe how I feel today. I cannot. Is that the best mic? If it's not, give me the better one, please. I'm so excited to be here. I said to everybody around, bring the best dress. Whatever you think is the best, because he is the best. When I came back from England, I met him in pharmacy, and I said, all will be well, for pharmacists in Nigeria. To produce a man like this, honest, intelligent, caring, loving, loving God is wonderful. This is something that nobody will miss. He has given so much of what he has. God gave him, and he gave more. And the lovely wife, I can't see her for a minute now, supported him so much. This is a partnership that we are talking about. It's a wonderful partnership, and I'm so happy when he reminded me that his birthday is 1st of October. I put it down myself, direct. I don't want a PA. I don't want anyone. I don't want to forget. You understand? So every time, it's only good news you hear from them. They give us hope in Nigeria that we have good people who can, stay there until the end. We need honest people. We need to emulate them. Young people, you spoke, but you have a role model. Because pharmacy must rise and take their rightful place. We have people. This is an example of who we have. Since then, he has been featuring in everything. Pharmacy, everything good. We love you. We love you. Thank you so much. What you've done for us, it's only God. I can continue to pay you. To be 80 is not a joke. And look at him. Does he jog every day? I don't know. He looks wonderful. Do you jog every day, by the way? I was saying he's slim, he's tall, he's young. It's really great to be here. And I want to say, we're very proud of you. There's no amount of money we use in buying the book that can pay for the book. It's not about money. It's about respect. It's about legacies. It's about, example of leadership. Have you led the health industry? A health industry would have been much better than it is today. I thank God for that. I know a lot of people, want to talk. The occasional people, please, thank you very much for allowing me to talk. So the pharmaceutical industry will buy one book for all the pharmacy schools in Nigeria. I understand that they are 17, 19. Okay, let's make it 20 in case somebody loses theirs on the way. How about that? It's possible. So 20 books for all the pharmacy schools that will be in their library, that all the students will study, and I recommend that a quiz be set for that leadership book so that people can learn from it and they will, value it for life. It's an example. Then my family will buy 5 books. I will keep one in my car, one in the house, one in the office, and I will give others the 2 remaining to my children. This is great. This is great. This is great. Thank you and thank God. Thank God and thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Thank you.